Hi guys, so we're gonna review the round 3 of Scorpio Super Formula. We ran at Daytona. There are a couple of incidents that were submitted, so we're gonna go through them, and then we're gonna go through some of the complaints from drivers about turn one specifically. There were a couple of spins. There were also a wind change during the race, so we're gonna go through that and see how realistic that it was, how it would have been in real life, etc., etc. So first of all, we're gonna have a look at the start because we have an incident at the start where I was reported as well. So I'm just gonna say now, when I was driving, it actually looked like a massive lag. So in turn one, it sort of everyone was flying around. I didn't realize where were the other drivers, and then I re-emerged in P6, and I had no damage. So I thought, okay, maybe I avoided contact. But when I looked back at the stream, and now I'm actually looking at the replay for the first time, uh, I saw that I did make contact with another car. So I just want to sort of make an analysis of what happened and whether it actually was lag or my mistake. So let's go and see. So I actually made quite a good start. I have Lester ahead and Grammenos ahead of him. Yeah, so here it actually looks like I made contact with Grammenos. So let's see from this camera. So we need to check the speed. So I'm at 241 here. Grammenos at 228. So he's already a lot slower. He's like 13 kilometers an hour slower than me at this point. Uh, Here it actually looks like we are doing a similar speed because, as you can see, the distance between me and him is not really shrinking. So at this point during the race, I already was quite unaware where other cars were. On the replay, it actually looks quite smooth, so I can understand why he isn't happy about it. Here, as you can see, our deceleration is the same. So if I was actually closing on him, that distance, like the tarmac distance between front of my car and rear of his car, it would have been decreasing, but it stays the same. So it means that we are decelerating at the same rate, and I'm not really closing in on him. So I'm on 184 now, and he's actually quite a bit quicker here. So he's not really braking at this point. I'm not really braking at this point either. So I think everyone was quite cautious into turn one. I was very cautious as well, so I didn't want to make contact with anyone. So I actually braked a lot earlier than I would normally do. And then I think Grammenos did the same. That's why we both almost fully released the brake at this point. Whereas normally you would be braking quite heavily here. So let's just keep going. So at this point, I start to close on him. 177, he's on 153. Yeah, so he braked, then he released the brake, then he started braking again here, whereas I'm not braking here. So that's where the mistake was, I think. um, yeah, that's where we close the gap. So the speed difference is almost 20 kilometers an hour. uh, as I said, like, it's not really an excuse, but uh, when we were actually racing, I didn't see his car there. Everyone was like doing this all the time. So I was just sort of looking at the apex of the corner and trying to make the corner. But actually, his car was there. So yeah, I am gonna make contact. I would have made the corner, but yeah, his car is here. It's evident from replay that I'm actually pushing him pretty hard. 133, he's at 141. So the speed difference is only 5 kilometers an hour. In reality, it would have been just a little tap that would have unsettled his rear, because 5 kilometers an hour is not fast. Like it's not a big speed difference. Uh, but actually, in the game, so he start. So, yeah, so that's where the problem is. Um, I can't really. Yeah, let's go 10 seconds back. I understand what the problem is now. So as soon as I'm gonna hit him, there is this sort of weird game dynamic that would sort of fly him off. You can see here. Yeah, you can see it really well. So what I'm trying to say is like when I hit him, there is quite a realistic reaction. So I just sort of tap the rear of his car, and that's what normally would happen with 5 kilometers an hour speed difference. That's like 3 miles an hour. It's not a huge speed difference at the moment of contact. So you can see there, uh, as I touch him, his rear goes slightly off, and that's how it should have stayed. But there is that weird game dynamic, and I've noticed it before, and especially where when there is lag, you sort of touch someone and then they sort of shoot off into the distance somewhere like 3 meters off. So that's really weird, and that's what happened here. And it started the chain reaction. So just see again, at the moment of contact, he moves just slightly, like his rear just steps out a bit, and that's how it should have stayed. But then he just flies off. Yeah, you can see it really well here. So that, yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest. It's definitely my mistake, because I mean I made contact with another car, but it shouldn't have happened like this. Yeah, you can see it really well here. Once again, let's have a look. I'm just trying to emphasize that like there is a little touch, it unsettles his rear, and that's how it should have stayed. But then there is that really sharp movement, like so we touch, and then he goes like completely to the right, kicking other cars. So what I'm trying to show you is, look here. We have Lester on the outside. We have Sanchez, and I'm not making contact yet. So, like, watch now. This is the point of contact now. Look, his rear just slides very, very slightly, and it's all okay at this point, and that's how it should have stayed. So in real life, it would have been just a little, like his rear would have been a little bit unsettled. He would have had a little twitch, and then went like he would have continued. But for some reason in the game, even 5 kilometers an hour speed difference is enough to launch him into Sanchez, who is like 5 meters in front. Like he's ahead of Leicester, and this little touch in the game is enough to launch him into the car that is 2 positions ahead. Look, watch now. So it's all okay here, and then suddenly, look, he's actually accelerating. He's accelerating faster than Leicester and faster than me. So there is no logic here. If I was 5 kilometers quicker and I hit him, he wouldn't accelerate by more than 5 kilometers an hour. There is no enough kinetic energy at this point. But he's actually up to 155 kilometers an hour now. Look, I was traveling 141, and somehow he now travels 155 already. That's just it's stupid. 220. Look, how on earth, if I'm traveling 141, how is it possible that he would be traveling 220 now? That's just game being the game, to be honest. And it's enough to launch him. So he starts sliding here now, and he decelerates to 184. He hits Leicester a little bit, and then he hits Sanchez as well. And Sanchez goes right as well, like the same. So it's just really stupid game dynamic, to be honest. I'm not saying that it wasn't my fault about making contact, and even like I'm not even going to use the lag excuse. So yeah, there was contact, but I've shown you like twice already that the speed difference at the point of contact is just merely 5 kilometers an hour, or around 3 miles an hour. That's not enough to launch him like this into the car that is actually 2 positions ahead. So Let's just see at his speed again. The contact was very, very minor. So, yeah, I mean, that's impossible. And he actually re-emerges behind me, so that's what should have happened. Like, he would have had a little twitch, then I would have lifted to let him stay ahead, and then we would have proceeded. And what's what's really weird as well is that he does have rear wind damage, but I don't have front wind damage. So that's why in the race I thought that we didn't make contact, because as I told you, like everyone was sort of like this, and then I re-emerged in sixth with no damage, and I was like, okay, fine, then maybe it was just a leg and like whatever. But apparently we didn't make contact. He had rear wind damage, which is absolutely stupid because the rear wind structurally is way more um, is way stiffer than the fragile front wing. So if we made contact, I should have broken my front wing without inflicting any damage on his car. But yeah, I mean, I can't really judge the incidents where I'm involved. But I understand his frustration. He reported the incident, and rightly so, because I mean, from his perspective, I just smashed into the rear of his car, and he got damage, and that's the fact. I mean, it has happened. But as I told you before, like 5 kilometers an hour would have never, never, ever made these consequences. I don't know what to say. I apologize to Grammenos. I apologize to CTRK. It's an unfortunate incident, but for me personally, it's more of a game glitch rather than an actual severe incident or whatever. But I will leave it up to the other stewards to decide about the penalty, because obviously I can't judge my own incidents. Uh, yeah, let's keep going. So actually, Gramenos actually stayed behind me, and he actually had a pretty decent pace in the next few laps. But then I don't know what happened because he finished last and like way behind everyone. So let's see. It actually looks like this rear wing damage is not like really doing anything for him. I don't know like what exactly what is the effect of the rear wing damage in the game. I think generally in the game when you get aero damage, you're just slower on the straight, which should be the other way around actually, because if you have less downforce, you should be faster on the straight and slower in corners. But Gran Turismo is being Gran Turismo here. Uh, let's see what has happened. So he lost the position to Roach. Then he took it back. He's back to P6. He stays in P6 for lap 3. And then he's down to P8. So yeah, so it looks like he was passed. So yeah, so let's see. So PayMay is behind. He's in the slipstream. He goes by. It unsettles his car into the bus stop. And then Lester is using overtake to pass. So yeah, it actually doesn't look like it's any severe effects of his damage, but contact is contact. I was behind, so it's my fault in that one. Sanchez actually caught him pretty quick. So he's actually trying to fight back. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there is any severe impact on his pace. I want to see what happened, like why did he go down to the last place? Still P8. So Sanchez goes by, P9. 10. So Roach gone by on lap 7. P10. I want to see what happened because he finished last, very, very far back. I think he reported an incident with Super S2K on lap 38, I think. So we're just gonna go to lap 38. Let's see where he is. He's actually already in the last place, so let's Arigato lap him. It was in turn 1. I need to double check which corner, like which lap it was. Lap 39, so it's gonna be a next lap. Let's skip forward. So CDRK is gonna spin now in lap 1. Sorry, in turn 1. Yeah, he already spun. Sorry. Let's just see what happened to him. So he's sideways already. Let's start from here. It's literally the replica of Ryan's incident. We're gonna go through it as well, but the way he returned on track, I'm sorry, but this is a penalty. As you can see here, he spun, and then as he rotates his car, he can see, or he should see, two cars approaching, and it doesn't matter whether it's a left car or a car that he fights with. So basically, Arigata is in P2, so that's the car he would be fighting. But behind him is Grammenos, which is a left car. But when you go back into the track after you have spun, it doesn't matter whatsoever. You have to rejoin safely. And he actually was involved in a similar incident in Japan when he returned to the track when he spun from the lead also and hit Adam, who was also a left car. So Adam inflicted damage and had to pit, but he didn't open a review. So during the driver briefing before the event, I actually said that if you go off, you have to rejoin safely, and this is definitely not a safe rejoin. Look, he should have waited here, like he should have let them by and then rejoined. But I'm pretty sure he was screaming in anger because of his mistake and wanted to rejoin as fast as possible. And I mean, obviously, it's very sad that he hit Gramenos, but if he hit Arigada, he would have. I mean, that's not the way you rejoin when you're fighting for the win and for a title. So this is extremely unsafe. Look from Arigada's point of view. I mean, this is just insane. If that was in real life, like if this was the real life rejoin, he would have been disqualified from this event and he would have had his license suspended for 6 months. I'm giving you 100%. That's the license suspension. You don't rejoin the track like this. This is the murder. This is the murder attempt on Arigada and Gramenos. Look at how they actually make contact here. Oh, he's muted. So he was muted by the game, not to murder Arigada, but because Gramenos is actually a left car, the game sort of unmutes him. So this would have been a DNF for both leaders if it actually happened. And I'm giving you 1,000,000%. That's the disqualification from this event, and that's the license suspension. 1,000,000% true, because he would have taken Arigada out and Gramenos. So by rejoining the track like this, he would have inflicted terminal damage on to two other cars. And yeah, I mean, what Gramenos should do here? He is murdered by this point. He is literally murdered already. Yeah, so he would have split Super S2K car in half. That would have been a very serious injury. I mean, oh come on. This is Yeah. I can understand why Gramenos is extremely unhappy about how this race went, because I took him out in turn one, even though unintentionally, but probably Super S2K did this also unintentionally, but inflicting damage on another car unintentionally doesn't take the blame of you. It's your fault. I mean, this is the murder attempt. Yeah, for me, it's. I mean, as I told you, in real life, that would have been a DNF for three cars, but because it's a game, uh, he only gets a light damage on the rear left. That would have been a DNF. So, I mean, if we are being fair now, like if I judge this incident as it should be judged in real life, that's disqualification. That's a black flag for sure. But I mean, I think in this instance it would be too harsh. He should be disqualified for this. But I think I said before the season started, we're gonna penalize the driver by the amount of time that the other car loses because of their actions. So Grammenos had to pit, I think. Yeah, so he lost 20 seconds. So that would be a 20 seconds penalty for Super S2K at this time. If if this sort of incident is repeated again in the future, that would be a DSQ. Because I mean, you don't rejoin the track like this. He should have waited for literally 2 seconds and rejoined safely. And the stupidity of this situation is that he actually probably lost more time because of he actually finished the race with the rear left damage. So he actually lost more time than he would have lost if he rejoined safely, and he probably would have won the race. Because going into the bus stop on the last step, they were 7 tenths apart. So had he not had this damage, which he inflicted on himself, he would have won the race. All right, so this is that's this situation covered. I have to mention the penalty to PayMay, and first of all, I'd like to thank PayMay for hosting the race because my internet is shit at times. So PayMay actually hosted the race, so I'm very grateful for him. But rules are rules, and they are the same for everyone. And unfortunately, he probably forgot that it's not allowed to use overtake on lap one, and used it 3 times. So I reminded everyone on driver briefing that you can't use overtake on lap one. Um, he did use it, so he obviously forgot in the heat of the moment, which is okay. I mean, it happens. Adrenaline is high on lap one. Heartbeat is racing, but rules are rules. You break the rules, you get the penalty. It's black and white. I mean, there is no gray areas here. So if you use overtake, you get a penalty. So that's 20 seconds penalty for PayMay, unfortunately, which will drop him in the race result from P4 to P7. I'm just watching the whole lap to confirm. So he's gonna use it somewhere here. Using the hazard lights for some reason. Yeah. So we can see he's using it here for about a second to stay in Michael's slipstream. Then he's gonna use it again here. And he's gonna get a penalty as well for corner cutting. Yeah, so it's the second time, third time, for a very long time. Yeah, so it's 3 times, 4 times actually. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Another thing I wanted to show you and to go through is actually Ryan's spin. I think it was Yeah, first, no, first we're gonna go through my spin, which was on lap 10, and it actually was when I let Ryan through, because Ryan was catching me up after his mistake, and um, I let him by, because the gap behind to Lester and PayMay was around 3 seconds, and I knew that if I started battling with Ryan, we would both lose time, and I will fall into the clutches of this very tight midfield group. So I actually let him through at the end of his lap, and is gonna be here. So I let him by, thinking that I will stick with him in his slipstream, and I didn't really care too much about catching the top three because they were in a different league. But all I wanted was for Ryan to give me slipstream and save me from the attack from PayMay and Leicester that were around 3 seconds back. So I'm clearly on the outside. I actually used the indicator to show him that I will stay on the right. I let him by here, and then I think I hit dirty air or whatever, and I just spin. Yeah. First corner caught out a lot of drivers. A lot of drivers. You see, when you rejoin the track, you should clearly be on one side of the track so that the cars that approach you at a much higher speed, it has to be extremely clear for them where you are on track so they don't crash into you. I could have blocked both Grammenos and SuperS2K, but obviously I wouldn't do that. Um, yeah, so that was that. Now let's see what. Sorry, actually that was already after Ryan's spin. So I don't remember which lap it was. Yeah, here. Look, that's literally the carbon copy of what happened to Super S2K. But this is an example of how you rejoin the track. It's not really a perfect example, but it's sort of okay because we have cars here. So he actually blocked Sanchez again. I mean, Sanchez is just unlucky in this race. Look now. So it was okay. I mean, it's definitely not a penalty, but if Sanchez didn't react as he should have, yeah, I mean, Ryan comes back into the track and Sanchez has to sort of back out a little bit to not to crash into him, but there was nothing serious here. I mean, it was okay. It was okay. But the spin itself is, I don't understand. Like, I had the spin there. I think Wakadili had the spin there. He told me, I don't know which lap. Super S2K spun and Ryan spun. And the spin here is extremely weird. And I don't understand why it happens like exactly the same. I ran brake balance 5 to the rear most of the race. So when I initially saw this spin, I thought that it was one of the rear wheels was blocked. Okay, so the only two reasons for this to happen is number one is to have a very large disbalance in terms of downforce on the front and the rear. So uh, to have a spin mid corner, you would have to have much more downforce on the front than the rear. So basically, there is more grip on front axle, and it makes the rear step out. But it's not true because the speed in the first corner, when he starts actually rotating, is around 165. That's around 100 miles an hour. That's not enough for this to happen. Because I mean, if it was the aero problem, neither him nor Super S2K would be able to drive to bus stop a single time without spinning, because the speed there is around 250. So it's over double the speed. So if it was the downforce issue, they would be spinning every lap in a bus stop, which is obviously not the case. So the other problem, the other cause that could potentially be relevant to this situation is to lock the rear wheel. However, I ran brake balance almost the whole race 5 to the rear, so that's maximum to the rear, and I didn't lock the wheels. And I also had the ABS set to weak, which is what he's running, because you can see the ABS button or like the ABS sign is flashing yellow. So that means that he's running it on weak. So on weak, it is possible to lock the wheel very slightly, I think. And even if he ran it on 5 to the rear, same as me, I mean, I was spinning there on the brakes. It's two AMS cars. Possibly, because it's only two AMS cars that have problems on entry to turn 1, and they actually had two identical spins. Maybe it's something to do with their setup, I don't know. However, it just looks very, very weird. Like, you can't lock the rear wheels in the game if you have the ABS on. And it just looks like he locked the rears. I mean, you can see here he's not even braking. He just starts braking here, and while he's braking, he will start spinning already. You can see the steering input. Actually, the steering input will help us to understand what happened, because he increases the brake pressure gradually because he's already turning, so it's not a hard-on brake, which would lock the rear wheels potentially. So he's very, very gentle both on steering and on the brakes. Let's go forward. So he increases the brake pressure, but does not increase the steering input. He's down to 209 kilometers an hour. So that's what I was saying. If it was the aero issue, he would have spun already, because it would have affected his car earlier in the corner while he was traveling faster. But he is able to decelerate into the corner quite gradually without any unsettling of the car. And there is a little bump here. He's actually full on the brakes now, but his steering input is still the same. It's about 10% to the left. Now, there is another bump here. So what I noticed about Ryan actually is he's always very, very gentle on steering. So he's very, very smooth. And that's, I prove it here, because look, his steering input literally doesn't change for a few seconds already. So he goes left, and he just plays with the brake. This is very well, like, this is very well done. This is very good technique. But yeah, we can see it starts to rotate here. So he's still full on the brake, and the car snaps here. His steering is still the same. Look, his steering input doesn't change at all. Like, let's see. So he starts to turn. He's just holding the wheel, like. And actually, another point about the downforce, you are only able to do that when you are very confident in the car's grip. And to be able to just go into the corner and keep the same steering input for a few seconds, it means he has enough downforce and that his car is very balanced. Because if the balance wasn't right, he would have been doing this on the brakes. So the car would have been dancing around. But the car is actually planted to the track, so I think the setup is pretty good. You can see here, he starts to turn slightly more. He just increases the steering input slightly more, and immediately he starts to spin. He doesn't react here yet. He's not reacting, he's not reacting. He's not reacting, but he's already spinning. We can see that, and here he understands that something is wrong. So it's like in that meme, and then this moment he realized he fucked up. So that's what happens here. He goes opposite lock straight away. So at this point still, he doesn't go full lock opposite. He still tries to manage the slide. He's trying to sort of get out of that slide. He's actually gone off the brake and that's the correct thing to do. He needs to give front wheels more grip. So in order to make them grip again, you have to release the brake, so to remove load from the fronts. And now he realizes that no way he's going to do that. Yeah, and then he loses it. It's very, very strange. The only explanation I could say is the bump. So maybe they had, both him and Super S2K had a stiffer suspension, possibly, because you can actually feel that bump there. That's the only explanation I can have. I don't see any other reason for two cars in the same team to have identical spins. I don't understand, because they are both great drivers. They are two of the fastest drivers we have here in this championship, and I wouldn't say they could have made the same mistake in a space. So actually he had it on lap 6 and Super S2K had it on lap 39, 30, 38, 39. So it's like 33 lap difference. So the conditions changed, the fuel level changed, the tire wear changed, and they actually replicated each other's spin. The only thing I can conclude here is that there was something wrong with the setup, probably with the suspension stiffness. However, if they both tell me that they ran the soft suspension, I literally have no explanation for this. Anyway, I'll leave it up to other stewards to decide what happened in turn 1. It was a good race overall. I think everyone tried to keep it relatively clean. Unfortunately, Grammenos was one of the guys who suffered twice at no fault of his own. So once again, I apologize to everyone involved. Yeah, see you next time in Nürburgring. Bye.